We are now live. How's everybody doing? It is a beautiful cloudy day in Southern California. I hope it's very nice wherever you are. Always thrilled to have you tuning in. Thank you to the regulars and also those who maybe are listening for the first time. We love talking to people about paddling, our love of water, our love of everything to do with being outside. I think it gets pretty broad some of the time. So thanks for being here. Remember, you're welcome to introduce yourself if you'd like to ask questions. I'm really excited about March. I have a whole bunch of firsts. And today you're going to meet a young man who, if you met him pre-pandemic, he was a kid, but he's not a kid anymore, and he's doing really impressive things. He is the youngest interviewee I have had so far, but he could probably trick you. Aloha. We've got a couple of alohas from England, from South Carolina. So great to hear everyone, see everybody, or see your names at least. But you're going to get to meet him in just a second. Again, just a quick thank you for SupConnect for letting me, Kristen Thomas, do this pretty much every Thursday. Gosh, it's been almost 2 years because it was a pandemic thing and it's kind of still going on, but they're letting me still do it, having a ton of fun. I am going to find Bodie because I saw that he's already on here. I just saw him last weekend, actually, because he has been joining us in Southern California, where we have more races in the winter. But he is from Oregon. Not sure if he's lived there his whole life. It is right outside of Portland. Very well known and loved. And I know the Pacific Northwest is thrilled that he's on, and to support him and to have someone like him representing their area. Hey, I see people I know. Lynn Ann, how you doing? We've got to get together next time. And there's Stephanie. So I just, Stephanie asked Bodie to join. So there's a little thing he pushes down below, and then he will pop on here and the screen will be cut in half and we'll both be on. But really just excited. You know, developing youth in the sport, in any sport, is super important, and just exciting how far he has come in such a short amount of time. Let's see if, sorry, no requests. Oh, unable to join, shoot. I hate it when technology gets in the way. So there's a little bit of the snag. Johnny O Missed, how you doing? I love people's Instagram names. Some I know and some of yours I don't, but I've gotten to know them over time. And the meaning of some of them, right? Goat boater. Oh, we've got Mexico. It's so fun. The Aussie from Sayulita. I hope some of you might be getting to Sayulita. They have a big event going on. Oh, there's Gary too. He'll be down there. How often do you do these interviews on SupConnect? Sunny Macedonia. Whoa. Oh, paddle pub. That's a different paddle club. Sorry. He's Paddle Pub Club. Cool. I do them every Wednesday. It's Bodie. I can join on my mom's phone. Yes, that's fine. So you want to follow him at Bodie Von Allmen, but since the technology is not working, he's switching right now to his mom's phone, and we're going to try that. I assume they're home in Lake Oswego is a really beautiful suburb of Portland, but I love Portland. I've never lived in a city in my life, but if I was going to live in a city, I'd like a small city that kind of has everything but is right on the edge of nature. And I just think Portland's such a cool place. You can see the greenery and get to it in just minutes. And the bluery. There's water surrounding it, the river, and all. Done a couple races up that way, and we'll be talking about some of the races like this one. That is a favorite of many. And definitely one of Bodie's stomping grounds. So let's see if I can find you. There's Alex. Hi, Alex. Ricky, Bobby, Susie. I haven't seen you in a while. Mega, Joseph. Okay, where's Stephanie? I know you're both on here. Okay, so right now, Bodie, on your mom's phone, you should get an invitation to join, and there's something to click, and you should be able to join us.
Hello.
It worked. Technology.
Yeah.
There's James, who took the picture that we used. Thank you for that great photo from a race just That was from one of the ones down here just recently, huh?
Hmm.
Thank you for doing this. You
Yeah.
are the
I'm,
youngest person in my 89 interviews or whatever I've done so far. I just think it's so wild that such a chunk of your life, I'm sorry, was during this pandemic, 2 years of your 15 years. Um, but when I met you when you were a kid, and you're not a kid anymore, and you're definitely killing it. So so much to talk about, even though you've haven't lived a long life according to some of us who are 4 times your age. You have done a lot already. You've raced for 6 years, and that's a long time. Actually, a lot of the people who are here who haven't raced or thinking about racing or maybe just started this year, 6 years is like, whoa, he's one of the old timers. A young man, but an old timer. But let's back up and tell us about, I know you do a lot of water things. What's your first memory of water? Do you have a water family, or what'd you first do playing in the water? How'd you get hooked on water?
when I was a little kid, my dad first taught me how to surf paddling. We didn't really know about paddling yet. It was very, very new back in like 2006 or so.
Hmm.
But quickly got into paddling once we moved to Portland area, just outside of Portland. And it was just like a way I could get on the water every day because you couldn't surf every day. I live like an hour and a half or so from the ocean. But
Hmm.
yeah,
There's that beautiful beach with the iconic rock. Is that where people from Portland go to surf? I always see that when I see Oregon.
that's where I go.
Yeah, that looks really pretty. I'd love to surf there someday. So you weren't born in Portland area. You were born somewhere else?
No, I was born in San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you learned to surf in some kind of
Uh,
chilly waters, a little bit sharky.
yeah, I know I would only go on vacation when we would go to like Mexico or
Uh-huh.
someplace warm.
Yeah. So your dad, Corey, is a surfer, so that started the water thing. I know you do a whole bunch of different water sports, but let's talk about paddling. And did your dad find it, or did you, or did you see somebody doing it in Portland, or had you seen it on vacations when you're surfing?
Well, we have local races here put on by Gorge Performance, and
Hmm.
so my dad started racing in those, and then he just thought it would be something I would enjoy and could get into, and so yeah.
Yeah. So did you just start the paddling and racing, or did he do it too?
He races a little bit, yeah. Not as much in the big races. He likes to see how I'll finish, but in the
Yeah.
littler, he'll still do those.
That's pretty wild that, yeah, already at your age, if he wants to see the finish of the race, sorry, Corey, nothing against, I have no idea how fast you are, but you're up in the front. And so you can't really do the race and see Bodie finish because he'll be ahead of you. That's a for sure. Yeah, Gorge Performance is one of the many places that does great stuff up there. Great shop. We love the couple who own it and do a lot for paddling. So
Oh, okay.
you had some local races. Was there a youth team? I want to ask a lot of questions about like how you at 15 are so good already.
There's the jet team who I've trained with a bit, but that's all the way up in Hood River, and that's like an hour and a half from my house. So I mostly just train on my own.
Yeah. So at 9, were you hooked right away on the racing part, or did you more just like paddling was fun and it was something to do as a sport? Did it?
Yeah, it was more of a recreational thing at first, just for fun and being on the water, and then I started going every day and started to get faster and started to really like competing in it and doing all the local races, and then started traveling more. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I admire many things about you, young man, but one is that at 15 you seem really self-motivated and like you've got some goals. Um,
Yeah.
when did that start? At a certain age where you really went, oh wow, I think like this could be my sport. I might be able to be good at it.
Yeah, I was like 12 when I started getting a little better in the races and everything. And SIC, I became a junior ambassador for SIC.
Yeah. And that, which is absolutely fantastic. And I know we'll talk more about SIC, but you have a new role. So what is your official team for SIC now?
Yeah, this year they bumped me up to the global team. So super stoked about that.
That is very impressive. Right from the junior to the global. Great stuff. Yeah, that you have you've competed globally already at this age. I
Yeah.
think you've done a really good job of like seeking out it, again, a very strange 2 years, and but you went from being a kid to a man to being, you know, you were fast. You were definitely a fast junior, but now you're fast in the whole world during that time. So, do you feel like you? I know it's hard. I'm asking you to brag, but like, what qualities do you have like that you maybe don't recognize? Because there aren't very many 13, 14, 15-year olds that are again as motivated to train on their own and become this good.
Well, yeah, it's just enjoying your training, keeping it fun. I don't go out and do like a super hard interval set that like I hate. I kind of just keep training fun. And it's just something I am looking forward to getting up and doing every day rather than, oh, I got to go train. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And that's not everybody in sport can say that. So good for you for learning that early and hang on to it. It is super important that you
Yeah.
won't last if you aren't having fun doing what you do. So you have some fun areas. You've already mentioned that besides living in Portland and there's like a river there that I assume you're mostly on. Well, there's a couple of rivers, but you also are near the gorge where we love to downwind. So hour and a half away, Hood River is definitely a hub for paddling also, but a really different type of paddling, not just flat water. But did you start that one early too, or is that something that you've added later?
Yeah. Started doing that when I was about 12. I would go out with Joel and Russell Pert from Stoke on the Water.
Great.
They have their downwind guiding business.
Shout out to those guys, awesome individuals and cool
You're,
business. If you're ever up there, definitely look them up, and especially
hmm
if you haven't done this before, kind of describe downwinding to people and that specific type of downwinding for those who don't know all about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you haven't downwinded before, you definitely want to go with a guide. Go with people who know what they're doing, like Joel does.
Hmm.
That definitely knows what she's doing too. But
But the
yeah,
whole, yeah,
I'll,
it's crazy to me still that you paddle downwind up a river because
mm,
that's what forms the waves that we, attempt to use to go in that direction. When I
yep.
tell people it's upriver, they're always blown away. Like, wait, what?
I know. Why you look at your time, you think you're going super fast, and you're like, oh, it's not that much faster than flat water.
Yeah, but it does make a whole lot of difference, local knowledge. So it's so great that you're up there, and because I've been fascinated to learn like the biggest, wave isn't necessarily the fastest because that's maybe where the current is the fastest.
Yeah,
And there's so much strategy to it, so much to learn.
I know. That's the reason I'm excited that they're moving it a little bit earlier this year.
Yeah.
It's late July now, so the
Yeah,
wind.
really good thing to mention. It's almost a month earlier or 3 weeks or
Yeah,
something, but it's
uh,
supposed to have hopefully better winds, right? Or more consistent.
that early, and there should be a little bit more current earlier in the season, so that'll just make for better bumps. Better.
Very fun.
Hmm.
Everybody should get on the program, right? And sign up.
Yep.
Great. So SIC has been with you, like you said, since you were 12, so quite a bit of the journey. And you were so nice to give some shout outs to a bunch of people. So let's, for those who didn't read your little intro bio, talk about some of the people you mentioned, Russell and Joel, and other people in some other areas who have had influence. I think your first lesson was with someone from SIC, right?
Yeah, it was Cody Kerbox. That's who kind of first taught me how to paddle and the techniques to use and all that. I was in Hawaii, and he gave me surf and paddle lessons.
Hmm. So were you already hooked on SUP, or was being in Hawaii one of the times and getting that lesson?
Nah, that definitely helped get me hooked for sure. Yeah, I was kind of starting to really enjoy it and starting to go almost every day. And then after that, I got a lot more stoked on it for sure.
Yeah. And I don't think I've asked you, do you homeschool, or when do you paddle? Or do you paddle after school, or how does
I
the
Cool, but I still like to paddle just first thing in the morning. I just like that time. It's productive, and you never have anything going on there, so there'll just never be anything interrupting it. It'll always happen.
yeah. Well, and if you started off surfing and have a surfer dad, you probably know about Dawn Patrol in the early morning and That's
Yeah.
often when conditions are good for a lot of different things, actually, or, whether it's more peaceful or better. Um, so SIC has been a big part of it. I know I was on an all-arounder for a whole year, but you probably in 2006 and being in a place that had a shop and all. Well, actually, is there one right in San Francisco? Did you start paddling when you were in San Francisco at all?
No, I was pretty young when I moved from there. Yeah, barely even. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. I was way back. But we get to claim you as Californian. So um, lately, because, the time of year and all, we've been thrilled to have you come down for quite a few of our winter series down here in Southern California. Is that are you just so excited to race? Is it fun to compete against different people as we're getting out of hopefully this whole COVID mess and races open up? Have you liked that travel race?
It's been really nice to go down to. We've been down almost every other weekend lately, and so it's a great break from the cold. So we get to surf in some warmer water. It's always nice. But yeah, I'm just getting race experience and paddling with Danny Chang over there, and training with him and stuff. So it's just been super fun to go down.
That's great. That's great. Getting different coaching and everything is awesome. So last year, I had the pleasure, or all of us did, of going to Hungary. That was kind of crazy. So it was still COVID, but there was this big world championship. And originally you were invited because you're one of the top juniors and we were trying to figure out the process. But you ended up competing as an adult. Connor Baxter chose not to do the distance, and that's where the first opening came because he was going to be there, but there was a third race. So
Hmm.
we fit you in there. And you did really well. How was that experience? Was that the first time you've traveled that far? I mean, there's things like jet lag and for
Yeah.
other languages, and how was that?
It was kind of confusing with the other languages, like ordering food and all that. And the jet lag was bad. I remember when we first arrived in Budapest, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just collapsed on the bed in the hotel. It was really, and my sleep was off that whole trip. But other than that, it was really fun being over there and doing that style of racing. I've never done that kind of thing before with heats and all the like. It's super serious with the tags and credentials and those guards and everything.
It was, yeah, quite an experience. I'm glad that you had it though at this point in life. It's cool to see all the different ways to paddle. Do you have a favorite type of racing, or do you like them all?
For racing, I like flat water the best. Getting settled in the draft packs is definitely my favorite part of stand-up paddling. I mean, downwinding's a close second, but to me, when I'm downwinding and I'm downwinding in a race, it's not that much different because the people are all spread out. But flat water, I'm used to paddling alone on flat water every day. So then when I get to, be in a draft, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, strategy and all of that. Yeah,
Mm.
that goes along with that. Cool. Um, so you tried sprint and technical. You've done
Yeah.
some of the short ones too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Have you done racing in the wave? I know down here we used to have a big race, but I think it was before your time. Did you ever get to a Pacific Paddle Games?
Yeah, I did PPG 2 years.
Okay.
I prefer, I mean, the Oregon coast is kind of sketchy for that, so I just don't practice it. I
Hmm.
prefer racing out of the surf, but it's fun to challenge myself and try and do like an out through the surf technical race or something.
Yeah. Well, in talking to other elite pro paddlers, it's challenging when you're in a new young sport because you're expected to be able to do all of those things, and they
Yeah.
really are a lot of specialty races. Are there any types you haven't tried that you might want to, like whitewater or?
I'm looking forward to trying whitewater. Yeah. I live kind of close to White's. That's like right by Hood River. It's pretty big for whitewater paddling. A lot of those big winds guys are big river paddlers. So I definitely want to get into that at some point.
Yeah, lots of different things. So how about you at 15 and already being so accomplished, but the world's just coming out of things and getting to know you again. I think it was great that you got to paddle internationally. Um, Certainly there's interesting things like this SUP World ranking that's pulling names and making order ranking type things. What's kind of on your goal list for this year? What are you looking forward to? And anything new or going back to races you love?
Yeah, I definitely want to do Poland, ICF in Poland this year. That was a super awesome event, and so I'd for sure like to go back for that. We're thinking of doing Nordhausen and Berlin, which are two races over there, if that works out, hopefully.
Cool.
And locally in the U.S., Carolina Cup and Paddle Challenge for sure. The Downwind Champs is this other race that we have. It's 2 weeks before Paddle Challenge. That could
Oh
be
yeah.
an come down. It's just like a week of free shuttles, and then they have like a 3-day window to pick the race, and they'll do it the biggest day. And it's a little bit longer than Paddle Challenge. It's a super fun event.
It is fun. I've done that one once. I would
Yeah.
say it's a lot longer, but I'm it was 15 instead of 8 miles, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's fun if it's on a great day for sure. Um, you last summer I saw you in the Sacramento area. I'm going to do a shout out to NorCal Supgroms and Shelly
Oh,
Alves had an event
yeah.
because there aren't that many youth programs. You mentioned JET.
Yeah.
We're trying to find them. So anybody listening, if you know of youth programs in your area, we want to start connecting them. You had mentioned in your shout out Mike Eisert with the Paddle Academy. And again, some are summer programs that are growing into bigger things, but she has quite a program that started with just kids. I think she's finally going to add adults that's grown to be quite big. And I think they had a great event down there and you were a part of it.
Uh-huh. That was one of the only events that ended up happening last season down in down in California, but that was a really fun event for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's not San Francisco, but I didn't realize you were originally from the Bay Area, so you're kind of close to home and some of your roots. Um, so in terms of starting at age 9, you've had all these lots of great mentors that you mentioned. Is there other advice you can give to a kid who might want, it's not a really well-known sport. It's not in school. Like what would you advise to someone who wanted to get started who's a kid?
If you're trying, maybe don't look around at people in your local area, kind of look around at the bigger picture of just like the entire paddle world, because it'll be pretty small if you're only looking at it in the local area. And then, yeah, just keep training fun. No reason to make it all super tough and miserable.
Training fun. I like it.
And
So
fun.
you told us about surfing, but I know you do other sports too, like wakeboarding, foiling. Having fun with that? Is there any water sport you haven't tried that you would like to?
I haven't tried wing foiling. That's
Uh,
something SIC is sending some wing foil gear. I think that'll be here this month. I'm really excited to get that dialed in.
cool, cool. Well, and along those lines, you mentioned someone who's been a big influence on you as your Team USA at ICF teammate, who's also another Oregonian, Fiona Wild, and
Hmm.
she's really good at the wing foiling, right? IQ.
Yeah, she's gonna teach me how, I think.
Perfect, perfect. I think she's actually almost on the road, right? She's heading back up from Mexico. She's going to be back in
Yeah.
Hood again. She's lives all over the world, different places. So, Hungary, I'm guessing at age 15 might have been the farthest you've traveled, or maybe you've traveled for other things. Well, you said you go on sup trips sometimes. Do you have places you're really looking forward to getting not necessarily because of an event, but you've seen a picture of or you've heard about that places you'd like to paddle, whether it's race or not?
Well, I see Gla race a lot. I mean, I know that's an event, but that just looks like a really cool. They've gotten lucky with like sunny and glassy the past couple years,
Yeah.
so that would be an event that it looks like super cool.
Right. It looks beautiful there with the mountains and everything. And yeah, but it is winter in a place that snows. So
Yeah.
taking a
Yep.
gamble, but still what a cool, I haven't done a race in a really cold place. That one and the Paris one both sound amazing to me. A big challenge. Not sure how I'd handle cold. I think it might, well, you train in cold. So actually you could probably do know how you'd handle it.
Yeah, you got to have the right gear. It's all because it's actually funny. Like when I go down for the weekend to Southern California, I'm super cold because I'm used to my layers. I get down.
And yeah, you get to take the layers off and then it's like, wait, this is a little too chilly. don't bring all the heavy stuff, but sometimes, yeah, we were cold after the last one, after working out, and then a chilly breeze.
Hmm.
Would you say you have a favorite part about stand-up paddling?
Favorite part? Yeah, it would be draft packs for sure.
I love that because it's well, you mentioned Robert Housen as one of your SIC people, and he's a buddy of mine. I actually live in the same neighborhood as Jade and the Housen family. And he and I used to say we're never going to draft because, you know, but it is such an important tool, and at your level, at the top level, you have to, or it does, I mean, that's just, it's all about that, and the strategy of it and working with people and
Hmm.
making that happen.
Yeah,
And
alone, you're working 10% harder so than the person who you're drafting. Or no, yeah, the person who's leading is going to be working 10% harder. So it's just a big difference because I never paddle with anyone. So when I get the opportunity to race with people and just be in that, it's a good feeling for sure.
good feeling, and yeah, helps you learn the strategy and stuff. So yeah, so glad you're coming down for these different races. And Carolina Cup's one of the first biggies probably of this year, where you'll be against a lot of internet. I mean, we've had some down here, but there should be hopefully a lot of international people. How about who you'd like to race about? Do you race against? Do you have some people that you're excited to see how you measure up against? Or
Yeah, there's a lot of Europeans, lots of Spanish kids who are super fast who I raced at ICF, and then there's still some big names who have been paddling or have been like Danny and Connor who have just been here since the sport first started. So it's super cool to race with them because they've been around since the very beginning.
yeah. Oh, so you got a lot on your list, it sounds like. The OGs and the Europeans and the Spanish, yeah, kids, they seem to have strong youth program. That's
Yeah,
very cool. But again, yeah, and it is fun to see. I mean, we've in stand-up paddling, we've almost always had some teenagers that are at the top of the sport. And so it's, you know, we that going back and forth, am I, when you have to pick, am I a junior or I'm in the open? I noticed you chose to be in the open because you know you wanted to be racing against Danny, I assume, right?
yeah. Hmm.
So it's we talk about that too because we want to get youth into the program, but then we want to also acknowledge that there's some really good youth who are still by age, not not in officially in the open, but you can choose to be in that. You know, you can choose open as your category. So
I think
cool that you're doing that.
that's one of the most cool things about paddling, in my opinion, is how no matter how fast you are, you can be in a race with the best in the world and compete against them.
Yeah,
A lot you have to be at a certain level even to just compete with the other best in the world. But in this, no matter what level you are, we can all have some races where we all start together.
yeah. I agree. That's pretty neat, and it doesn't happen in a lot of sport. And when we get at a certain time, it might not happen as often in ours, but
Yeah,
super cool that we can do that now.
for
And I
now,
have
yeah.
that. I said that people could ask you questions, but I haven't been keeping up with all the people who are joining. Lots of great people. It was so fun to see how much love people have for you there in the Pacific Northwest and all over the place, and a lot of interest in this chat. So it's fun to chat with you and help people get to know you even better. How about the hardest race? One or two races that you really have struggled with, and did you learn something from them?
It's the races that you struggle with that you learn the most from, for sure. So Carolina Cup, when we had, it was just like a hurricane 2 miles offshore. It was just new. Even put the race how it was supposed to be, we had it all in the harbor. That was a big challenge for me. Just seeing those conditions, I really got in my head. And then we those sticks that blew in. There was just sticks all over the water. I got those tangled around my fin. It was just a kind of a disaster race.
Oh, you know what? I had the same problem. I
Yeah,
really thought I could go through them because usually,
yeah,
depending where you live, you have different types of things. So I thought, well, for sure, it was only about, 2 or 3 feet wide. So I
uh-huh.
tried to pick a narrow spot, totally snagged, totally fell in. And then the weather was just so crazy. So I'm with you on that one being a tough one.
Yeah.
But you're so wise for one at 15. Um, it's interesting. I forgot when your birthday is, but the ICFs, you almost weren't allowed to go because these, sports, they're the Canoe and Kayak Federation, been around for a long time. They are very strict on their age policy, but, it'll be interesting to see if we go that direction. January 1st, whatever age you're going to turn that entire year is your age group. So that entire year, you don't switch age groups, because if you have a birthday in July, I don't know when yours is, but half the races results are you might be in one age group and half in another.
I
More
see.
around, the 18 and the 50 is where it makes the biggest difference. But it worked in your favor because when we first started talking, you were 14 and we thought you weren't going to be able to go, but you turned 15. So again, I'm going to keep saying it. You're doing amazing stuff for your age. So how about favorite races? So you named a tough one. What are some that you were either surprised by or just really especially loved? Probably
Uh,
one was drafting, right?
like the Hano Hano was a lot of fun. How Rossoff was a lot of fun. Lanaki was like all the races that I've been down this year, just down in SoCal, have been fun. It's fun to go to Hungary too, but I'm a big homebody, so when I leave home for that long, I miss my dog and I miss my paddle setup. So
Oh, oh, that's awesome. Love that you train in the morning. Love the mindset that you have already. That is going to take you far. Gave some advice for kids. You have some big races coming up. And again, some might be, youth focused. Most though, it sounds like you will be in the open and you will be challenging yourself against everybody. I think your advice, I mean, you've already given some good advice, but to advice to those who want to start racing, just in general. I think it doesn't even have to be kids.
just anyone who wants to start racing, just go to any events you can. They're all a lot of fun. Uh, trying to think. Start with smaller events, racing in open class or just your age group and all that.
Mm-hmm. Which we don't always have. Well, that's good advice. Get out there and just do it, right? You
Hmm.
have mentioned about the fun and always enjoying what you're doing. Do you enjoy the people too? We talk a lot about community, and part at my age, part of why I go is to go see my friends and to meet new people. Do you
Yeah,
enjoy that part of it too?
yeah. Almost everybody I know in the paddle world is just super nice and super awesome community. That's a
Yeah.
huge part of it. Sure. Yeah.
So you sound like quite the water person. Do you enjoy like land sports too, or are you drawn to the water?
Um, I don't think I really do anything on land. I used to skate, and then they closed the skate park here for some reason. I don't really know why. And then I kind of stopped because I broke my arm skating, and then it kind of just gets me injured. And I don't.
Yes, that's smart, especially with all the goals that you have for paddling.
Yeah.
Um, what are you? Let's see. Let's talk more about equipment. So SIC you use boards since you were 12. Any other particular companies, paddles? I know you borrowed an OC. I thought that was super impressive that you and Soren, another young person who's doing amazing, she just turned 13. You both, after doing your stand-up paddle race and doing great, you both went out and did the outrigger distance race. How was
Yeah.
that?
It was fun to give that a try. OC1's a lot of fun. Yeah. Super quick. My dad, we're thinking about getting one so that my dad and I can train together. Because
Oh,
if he's
fun.
my race board, maybe we'd be like closer to the same speed.
Sounds like a great plan. Go. Yeah, Corey, you gonna get mom out there too? Stephanie, you paddler? I heard her in the background. I heard a laugh.
Says she
Not her
doesn't.
thing. Is that what she's saying? Hey, you got to have support on land too, right? To make all this happen, you have to have a supportive family. So that part is really cool that they are taking care of you in that way. Well, any parting thoughts about being a young man at the top of his game already, but looking forward to doing even better, I'm sure. I know we're excited to keep watching you.
Yep, looking forward to this season. I think it could be a pretty big season for paddling.
Yeah,
Lots of, yeah.
I think it is too. I think as we come out of the pandemic, there's the people who are dying to get back to it. Some of us who, found some, but a lot of people didn't. And then we have new people too.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
have you seen new people in your area getting started?
Well, yeah, there's a lot more people. Just the lake here on Oswego Lake with race boards. But like a few years ago, I was the only one with a race board, but now we have multiple people with. There's like 5 different RSs on the lake. Some
Ah,
boards, yeah.
you've started a trend. You're a trendsetter. So Joseph Silva is asking if you have any interest in the ultra long distance sup events.
11 cities, right? Those kind of places. Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. And yeah, quite a few people said hi. I don't know if you saw it scrolling by, like Casey.
Hey, people. Hey, Casey.
Hey, people. And shout outs. Oh, and yes, a lot of people are very proud of you and how you're doing. So we really appreciate you coming on. And if you don't know, this is Bodie Von Allmen. We had this little live, but tell your friends that if they didn't get to listen to us, that this is recorded and it will be on YouTube, SupConnect's YouTube, and mine, KT Outside, within a couple of days, so that they should catch up and find out about Bodie and follow him on Instagram, right? Bodie Von Allmen. I think we have the name up here. You can't see it right now, but you can text me if you can't find it. It's not too hard to spell. Even though I was doing MAN, not MEN, so I had to be corrected on that one. All right, Bodie. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.